to another episode of Life with Purpose. I'm your host, Laura Galdo, and today I'm happy to introduce to you a beautiful lady entrepreneur. She is Eileen Silverberg. Eileen has been taking care of her mom with Alzheimer's for a few years now. She has taught and presented lectures for the Alzheimer's Association on self-care and meditation practices. She has also conducted ongoing sessions for staff in the most highly ranked nursing and rehabilitation nursing centers. In order to share her story, Eileen wrote A Warrior of Light, published both in English and Spanish, a book to help caregivers live judgment-free with acceptance, elegance, and joie de vivre. She hopes for her readers to learn from the tips she offers in the book and act with love and kindness towards themselves and the ones they care for. Eileen is a strong believer of self-love and self-care, pillars that support an individual in order to live a balanced and happy life. She has been observing mindful meditation ever since she learned about the Hawaiian tradition of Hooponopono. In fact, Eileen serves as the facilitator of this ancient practice in the United States, teaching workshops as she inspires and encourages everyone to experience the same physical and mental benefits of this practice that she enjoys. Additionally, as an entrepreneur with years of experience, Eileen manages the two luxury wine boutiques that she and her husband own in Florida. Being an accomplished woman, supportive mother, loving wife, loving daughter, successful entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and inspirational author, Eileen still has more cards on her deck. Eileen has always loved dancing, so when one day she experienced a channeling event that encouraged her to found a new brand, she listened to the universe and created the ESB Aloha Soul movement, a registered technique that combines movement with meditation and that is proven to work wonders. Here you go, Eileen Silverberg. I hope you enjoy it. And we have Eileen Silverberg today. Thank you for being here, Eileen. She is a life coach. She's an author. She is a facilitator of Hooponopono and many other things that I'm going to let her tell us with her own voice and her own words here in the episode to you guys. So hello, Eileen.
Hello, Laura. Nice seeing you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I love having time to get together and talk about good stuff.
About good stuff. Yeah, like we always do. With good stuff for everybody.
Yes.
So what good stuff do you have in your story of life?
Oh, well, where do you want me to start? Because that means that I will have a lot of time.
Yes, well, you can talk. So if anybody asks you, tell me a little bit about your life story, storytelling fashion. What is the first thing that comes to your gut? What's the first thing that you want to say that you cannot stop it, that comes to your mind without thinking too much?
You know what? The thing that I want to say to everyone is that you are a unique part of this life. So, and I say part instead of a person because yes, you are a person, but in a placement in the universe, your uniqueness is here to spark beauty, not just to one person, but to everything around you. So the connection that we have, and if I have to start somewhere, I will say that was something that I'm so grateful that got instilled to me by my grandfather many, many years ago as a little child. He will see me perhaps not having the best time, perhaps feeling a little bit out of place, perhaps feeling different from so many, my family, my cousins. And he always took the time to look at me and say to me, I want you to know, he will say to me, he will call me flaquita, flaca, flaquita, come here, little skinny girl, he will say.
Nice skinny girl.
My little skinny girl, I want you to never forget that you are God's favorite child. He will say that to me. And somehow, every time he said it to me, I had this feeling that it was true. And I will tell him, I know, abuelo, I know. So there was something that
you knew.
I knew, and I had no idea why, because my circumstances or what we call our way of living, my life, you would have said, well, probably that's the last thing she believes, that she's that favorite. But to me, I think that, and that's what I like to say it, is like we are all favorite childs of God in my case,
Something
of
grand.
the universe, of the big force, of the amazing source. You are favored because you're here. And because you're here, just like my gardenias are here, there's a reason, right? Just because the sun comes up and the moon comes up at night, there is a reason. There is that sequence. There is that part of life and the universe that positions us here to, not for you to feel like you are it, but for you to know that you are it in this place here and now,
And for you.
and eventually to a lot of other people that are listening. So that is what I will say will define my journey of life, because of that little spark. And I hope, and that's as I always say, if there's a product I sell, which I do, my favorite product, the only product that I always say I serve, is giving everyone a perspective, a different perspective on how to live your life. And it's more of an elevated perspective of who you are. So that is the product I like to serve others. It's like, I want you to stop for 1 minute. I'm not going to change your life. You are going to change your life when you realize that there's an elevated perspective within you that you haven't discovered yet. And with that,
go ahead. Yeah.
And with that, challenges will become adventures.
Yeah. I like that word, adventures. And that's exactly how I wanted to start. I always, let the guests tell their story, but that's one of the main ideas that we're doing this, is to inspire others. And what a great way to inspire others with what you just said. Believe in yourself, know the meaning of you in the universe, in this planet, the space that you create and that you are and that you occupy in here. And you said it exactly. I didn't even have to ask you, how can you inspire with your story? And it's exactly that, just sending the message that people can understand how important they are. And so as we continue with this beautiful chat that we're having here, because it's really a chat and just a conversation that I want us to have here for others and the audience. How I'm sure that you had obstacles along the way. How can you tell us a little bit about how you overcame these obstacles? What did you do? I mean, aside from, of course, what everybody does, crying, being disappointed, thinking that I'm not going to be able to make it, how did you overcome that?
Okay, challenges and disappointments and all that comes within. I think that we forget that we are being it's like the terrain gets prepared for us. And all that we consider, all that pain and suffering and
Fear.
self
Yeah.
fear, the big one, fear, the feeling of there's no way I can get through this, the feeling of not feeling enough to be able to get through something. I believe that it's what prepares you to understand that yes, you can. Yes, it's there to remind you that your body is trying to tell you this is what you're feeling, but it's coming from a different place. It's not really what you think you're feeling. It's just that you are going back to something in your subconscious that is triggering you to behave the way you're behaving right now. But that's for you to discover. That's what I call it, an adventure, to then realize, yes, I can get through this. There is a message, there is a reason. And I hate to say the word, there's a reason why you're going through stuff, because some people say this is very hard for me. And it's not that there's a reason why you're going through stuff. It's just that in the infinite, and maybe sometimes I sound a little bit woo-woo, but it's not woo-woo. It's something that I know within. You came wanting these experiences
To learn.
so you can remember who you are. So you can realize, say, oh, that's right, I'm that spark of light. I am that unique being. And this is why I experienced this, because I really wanted to being able to get through them. So your being, the being that we don't know that we are, chose to say, as a human being of how you are right now, my body, me, Eileen Silverberg, wearing what I'm wearing today, having the color of my hair that I'm having today, wearing my lipstick, having my dogs, my family, and everything. All that was here, and I wanted to experiment that. But I need to remember that aside all that, I'm a being that is unique, special. So all that is it's like a knock knock at your door. Yes, it sounds hard, but once you open the door, the gift is there. So how did I discover that? As I said, I think I was fortunate that I had my grandfather reminding me completely that was part of me. So I think that I had a very close relationship with what I call the divine realm. I don't think I had any idea of that when I was a young girl, clearly.
Now, as we get older, we start analyzing things and we realize, oh my God, this served me well when I was smaller and younger and just didn't know about it.
Exactly. And in fact, as a young girl, I thought everybody was feeling like I was feeling, until I realized, oh no, that doesn't happen. And but that's always in there. That was always something that reminded me and positioned me in situations and in front of people that will guide me to remind myself that I had in me a strength that not just me, everyone has, and that we forget that we have that huge strength. So through my job, through my life, I went to San Diego State for college, and being in California, I'm from Puerto Rico. So I moved across the country, to go to school. And people say, how did you do that? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm an only child. So growing up as an only child, I was very insecure. Very insecure. That was the word I could say. So
what were some of your insecurities as you grew older, as you moved to the United States, as you went to college in California? And yeah, we're still insecure, even though we feel that we are mature women and now we are by ourselves and independent and all that. But the insecurity is still there because we haven't learned how to work with it yet, and how to understand in the first place that we have it. So what were some of your insecurities there? And I like a story. I don't know if you want to go ahead and bring it up, but I like a story that you mentioned once when we were talking about certain insecurities that you had and how you responded to that, and taught a couple of lessons to other people.
I love it. Well, there's so many. There's so many. Tell me the one that I told you.
So you were talking to me about the challenge that we have as immigrants. Well, in my case, as immigrant, or this challenge that we have as a speaker of another language other than English. And that this is something that is real. That is real. That I don't talk about it with resentment. I don't talk about it with hatred. I don't talk about it with, oh, it happened to me kind of thing. But it happened to me. It happened to many of us.
To many of us. Well,
we needed to overcome.
I go to San Diego State and I applied, and I was already in college in Puerto Rico with a full ride, but I wanted to see if there was other schools that would take me. And of course, there were other schools that took me. And at that point, of course, I had a boyfriend. So, it was easy to go there because he was going to go there. So, that's another. That was like, but you know what? This is what I call people in your life come with a purpose. So you continue and do your journey and make it very, very special for you. So your adventure is there for you to discover, and the circumstances and the people are placed there to help you go through the journey that was designed specially and uniquely for you. So in my journey, so I go to San Diego State, I get accepted. And, at that point, I'm thinking, I got this, I'm awesome. And as I'm there, and I'm trying to get into communications school, which was very hard. And yes, no, I was not able to get through communication school because I couldn't pass the test. That was one of the things. So I had to figure out, I think I'm here. I need to figure out something else that I like, that I can do. And that's not going to prevent me not to go to school.
And just a parenthesis, it's good that you tell this story, and thank you for that, because it's a lot of people that go through the same thing. A lot of graduate students, a lot of high school students, and even people that want to go back to school and try something else. So it's a journey that happens through our life to many people, and I'm sure that they can relate to this story.
Yes. And when you realize, okay, so part of what I always tell someone, and at the beginning they may look at me and say, did I come coaching with you for you to tell me that there's no failure? You don't understand that I'm here because I feel like I'm a failure. No, there's no failure. There are corrections to make to those things that you deem failure, but there's no failure, because when you decide, okay, well, that's what it is, that is not the way it turned out to be for me, then what else can I do? Or what did I learn from that? So to me, it's like, where is the failure? There's no failure. You just corrected something that didn't work for you. And perhaps maybe that wasn't your path and you had no idea. So, so that is a very important. And if there's nothing else, and we have to stop the recording right now, that is something that I love for people from every age to understand. No failure. Do not use that word, because you are not a failure. You have the potential to correct every circumstances that you are facing in your life. And what a powerful statement that is. It's like, wow, that means that I can make it differently. When I say better, why better? Differently, because when you start labeling, oh, now I can make it better, you're saying that you make a mistake, or you made it badly before. No, you are going to make it differently. And if that differently brings you joy, then jackpot,
It brings you joy, and it brings you a lesson. A lesson that you're able to do so many things, to run across it, so that you can understand that that's not possible because something else will be possible instead of it. And it opens your mind, and it opens your soul to the opportunities that, like you say, we came here to actually follow, and like a dream. It says, oh, like a dream, have my dream come true. It's a cliche, but that's what we do here. We know we have dreams. We come here with dreams that we want to make realities because it is part of our path. And I think that's the message. No, so no communications for you. And then what do you do instead?
So then I decided, okay, well, let's do design. That's what I love to design. So, and then in the meantime, I'm going to take some communication classes as well, the ones that I was able to take, and theater and design and everything. So I was in one of my classes, we come out of recess, and there was this guy who was very, very handsome, very good, supposedly, a good friend, so we're walking down the hall, and then we sit around some people from the class, and he looks at me and he says, "I cannot believe that you're from Puerto Rico." And I was kind of shocked. I'm like, "What do you mean?" I mean, I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, why can you believe it?
Why? I mean, why? He says, I just know there's no way you can be from Puerto Rico because you don't sound like a person from another, like from the island or something.
Not from the United States.
Exactly. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? I mean, like, what are you trying to say? And at that point, I felt that here I am, and I have this accent that I was like trying to get rid of because I wanted to speak like everybody else. So there's my sense of insecurity, right? Right, wanting to be like everybody else. There you go. This the biggest sense.
Yeah, I think, which is something we also commented that back then when we were talking about it, without realizing that everybody has a different kind of accent.
Exactly.
In a different way, even within a region, even within a country.
Exactly.
So, but in our minds, we feel we have to learn this and it has to be perfect, because if not, limiting belief, we won't be accepted.
Well, and at that point, I thought to myself, you know what? No. How did I come up to that? What happened to me at that point? I cannot tell you, but it was almost like I figured, let's put some humor into this. And I looked at him, and his name was Jimmy. And I looked at Jimmy and I said, well, of course not, because I am the daughter of the chief in the tribe that I'm from in Puerto Rico. And he's like, oh, I knew it. I mean, he's like, whoa, really? I'm like, yes.
So unique somehow.
And, of course, I took it to the level of looking at him, almost making him feel like, I mean, how educated we're here in college. We should have a little bit more education. That's what we're doing here, getting even more educated. And the statement he gave me. So I told him, I said, yeah, I know everybody's like wearing a cloth loin. But because I'm the chief, the daughter of the chief of the tribe, I get to have regular clothes, and I speak English because, that's what you do. And some other people around me, of course, who had some kind of idea that Puerto Rico was, yes, in the Caribbean, but probably was part of the United States. And I did have a passport, had some clue of, wait, she's from far away, but it doesn't mean that she shouldn't be here. That it doesn't make any sense that someone from somewhere can be here. And he looked at me, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And it was funny, and we laughed, and I'm like, you're so silly. I looked at him. And so, yes, you have to face challenges sometimes with a dash of humor, and trying not to take things too personal, because what I have learned and through my journey in life is that people don't know what they don't know. And that doesn't exonerate people. And of course, that's a funny statement. And that's something that perhaps, you're not going to get that mad at someone. But what happens when, for instance, you feel that you come from a place where you had a horrible childhood and you had to live horrible circumstances, which there were some part of my life that were very, very horrible. And I wish that they would have not been there, because I had to be able to get through that to be able to get to where I am. But what I have learned at the age of 21, when I actually 22, when I, for the first time I went to visit Hawaii, I got, because the universe gave me the gift of taking a hula class, and I had no idea that the hula class or the hula dance has a meaning. It's the meaning. You are actually talking about nature and the connection to life.
And I'm going to stop you right there, because I like to leave that for our part 2 of, yes, of this wonderful video podcast. Wow, she is truly an exceptional woman, not only because she is a really good friend, but I know that she is a superb human being, a great professional, and an amazing entrepreneur, and a great example for us women who want to live a life with purpose. This is the end of part 1 with my interview with Eileen Silverberg. So tune in, and don't forget that coming up right away is part 2, so you can see the conclusion of what Eileen has to tell us with her story. Again, make sure that you subscribe, please. Make sure that you check that like button there. Make sure that you give us some love, and that you make your comments and let me know what it is that the takeaway today is for you. What tips did you learn from us today in this episode? And what are you going to do to make changes in your life, to improve your life, to start believing in yourself a little bit more? And I'll see you then in the next episode with Life with Purpose.